Gravity Garage.
I hate when you start like that.
Take two.
Hi, Clay again here at the Angel Fire Bike Shop, and welcome back to the Gravity Garage. Let's talk today a little bit about tire pressure. You know, tire pressure is one of those things that I think is really overlooked and is really key in getting the best performance and safety while riding your mountain bike. It's something that's easily adjusted. I think everyone knows how to use a pump, from the seasoned professional down to the kid, and it's something that's really going to affect the performance of your bike. And so let's talk about how to get that right tire pressure so you can get the most out of your mountain bike rides. So there's a few factors that influence what you're going to do in terms of tire pressure, and the first of which being tire construction. Tires are made a little bit differently depending on their application. For example, this Hutcherson Squall tire has a hard skin casing or a downhill casing. It's a 2-ply tire, which is pretty robust to try and resist rock cuts and rim strikes that's associated with downhill mountain biking, as opposed to, let's say, a cross-country tire, which is going to be a single-ply tire, something that is a little bit lighter weight to try and get you up the hill. And so each of those has sort of a different pressure that you want to run, where a dual-ply tire is going to need a little bit more, less pressure for traction, as opposed to a cross-country tire, single-ply, which can maybe take a little bit more pressure because the construction isn't as robust, like I said, and needs a little bit more support. The second factor that's going to sort of control tire pressure is the terrain that you're riding on. Here at the bike park, we have very rocky terrain, and because of which you probably want to run a little bit more tire pressure than, let's say, a place that has smoother terrain, because you want to try and protect the rim and protect your tube for that dreaded pinch flat we talked about last time. Another factor is dirt conditions. When you have hero dirt, tacky dirt like we have right now, you know, you can run a little bit higher pressure because the ground is just going to offer a little bit more bite, as opposed to loose conditions where maybe you want to lower your PSI a couple pounds or so. That can make a difference to try and get you that extra grip that you're looking for. Another determining factor in setting your tire pressure is going to be rider weight. You know, a 200-pound rider is going to have different pressure requirements than a 60-pound rider. For example, you know, a 200-pound rider may want to run 35 pounds in his back tire, but a little kid riding his bike at 60 pounds probably wants to run 20 to get the same feel and effect and traction and performance out of that tire. Let's talk about some of the things that you want to look for on the trail to help you determine that proper tire pressure. For example, you know, if you have too much pressure, you should be running maybe 30 psi, and instead you're running 50 psi. You're going to notice that the ride is really harsh and bumpy and just basically lacks traction. And so that's one of the things you want to look for having too much tire pressure. A great example of having too low a tire pressure is when you get rim strikes. In other words, when you're riding, you should be running 30 psi again. You're down to 20 psi. You didn't realize the tire pressure was that low when you run over a square edge hit, and the tire actually collapses to where the rock is actually going to strike the rim and ping. We've all heard it before, and you get rim dents. And that's a great example of running too low a tire pressure. And lastly, if you're just not sure about what tire pressure to run, all of the manufacturers will print on the sidewall a recommendation range of what pressure you want to run. On this particular tire, they recommend somewhere between 35 and 45 psi. So if you're just not sure, take a look on the sidewall of your tire, grab your pump, air it up. Think about the things that I told you before about the performance of the tire, and then tune from there. Thanks for joining us again here at the Gravity Garage. If you have any future topics you'd like for us to discuss, please comment below and subscribe above for future videos.